Hello, my name's Chris, and I'm a disabled British veteran of the Royal Air Force. I've basically started this channel to talk about my injury and recovery journey, in the hope that some people might find it interesting. I joined the Royal Air Force at age 17 in 2001. I basically left one institution of school and then joined a brand new institution, the RAF. I never had a civilian job in between leaving school and starting work with the RAF. So when I did finally leave the RAF in 2014 and join the civilian workforce, I found it really challenging, and I'll discuss that in more detail in a later video. I've got lots of ideas for videos, 10 or 12 at the moment, and I'm hoping to release around one a week, or basically as fast as I can record them. So I joined the Royal Air Force, as I said, in 2001 as an intelligence analyst in the specialisation of imagery. My injury is far too complex to get involved in here, and I will make a video later detailing exactly the history of my injury. But I basically first realised I had pain in my lower back, right back, during basic training, and I just thought I wasn't fit enough and I hadn't trained hard enough and ignored the problem. Then when I arrived at my first unit, we went out on exercise almost straight away, and again I had this pain in my lower back, but I just ignored it. Took over the counter paracetamol and ibuprofen, done some stretching type exercises I found on the internet, and just cracked on. So it wasn't until 2004 that things got a lot worse, when I had an accident. I stepped off the back of a van. I was carrying a lot of weight. I had a weapon system and a Bergen and everything. And the van must have only been about a metre off the ground, and as my feet hit the ground, as I jumped off the back of this van, I felt this incredible sharp stabbing pain in my back. Almost as though I'd been shot. It was that painful, and I couldn't feel my feet, and I was rushed to the hospital where they'd done an MRI scan and discovered that I'd prolapsed a disc and damaged my spinal cord. And what they think had actually happened was, earlier on in 2001, when I started getting the pain, I had a disc bulge which was damaging a nerve, which is what was giving me the pain. But it wasn't until I actually prolapsed this disc that they discovered that I had all these problems. They also done a blood test at that time and found that I had a blood marker called HLA-B27. They don't understand fully what it means, but they know that people who have this blood marker are more likely to have problems with their backs, but they don't fully understand it, as I said. So it was at that point that I had one of my many trips to Headley Court, and they managed to get me back on my feet and walking without the aid of a stick. And so I was really grateful of that, and I went back to work. Then over the next few years, the pain just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I had a few different MRI scans which were showing more damage, more trips to Headley Court to try and rectify the damage. Wasn't working. Increased painkillers. I basically climbed up the opioid pain ladder, again, which I'll talk about in a later video. Started on cocodamol, ended up on oxycodone and tapentadol and fentanyl. So yeah, things just progressively got worse, and until I was eventually medically discharged in 2014. Now, needless to say, I absolutely love my job, and if it wasn't for the fact that I had this injury, I would have done it full career, full service career, 22 years plus. So I kind of feel like I was robbed a bit, that the job that I loved to do, I couldn't do anymore because of this problem with my back. I was lucky in as much as that, as it was predominantly like a desk job, I wasn't a war fighter, I could continue to work, and they allowed special dispensation for me to continue working even though I had this problem with my back. So I managed to get just short of 13 years, a few months short of 13 years worth of a career out of the Royal Air Force, and for that I'm really grateful. But to their credit, they tried everything they possibly could to try and fix me. Multiple trips to Headley Court, multiple MRI scans, multiple appointments with various specialists to try and get me fit again, and nothing would work, which is why I was eventually discharged. So I held lots of really interesting jobs while I was in the RAF, but needless to say, I can't go into too much detail about what I'd done or where I served for security reasons and just for my own safety, really. So I'm not going to talk too much about that, but I loved my work, and it was everything to me. I held the rank of corporal when I was discharged, although I had been selected for promotion to sergeant for 3 consecutive years prior to my being discharged. For various reasons I wasn't actually promoted. I was either too far down the list, they didn't get to me, or the position that was available for that particular slot in the promotion roster wasn't suitable for me, so it would be like a job which would have involved somebody being very physically fit. Obviously I couldn't do that job, so I'd slip back down the roster or just be passed over altogether, and that's fair enough, you know. There are people out there who are physically fit enough to be able to go and do the job, and I didn't want to ruin other people's chances of progressing in their careers because I was blocking somebody else's opportunities, so I was okay with that. And to be honest with you, if I could have stayed in for 22 years as a corporal, I would have bit their hand off because I love my job that much. So I think that's probably enough for an introduction video. I'm really looking forward to making these videos, and I hope that they're interesting to you. If you do find them interesting, what would be really useful to me is if you could give them a like or a thumbs up or an up rating, depending on what platform you're watching the videos on. It just means that I get extra exposure, because the more likes people get, the more it pops up on other people's feeds, and just gives me a feeling that I'm actually doing something right. I'd also love it if you could comment on some videos. I'd love to have like a bit of a two-way dialect with people. If you've got any questions or things you want to ask about somebody who's been through the process of becoming injured, going through all the med boards process of being discharged, what life's like after you've been discharged, if you're looking at going through that process yourself, or perhaps thinking about joining up, I want to know what should happen if the worst happens and you end up being discharged, what life looks like on the other side and how they look after you. I'd be more than willing to discuss any and everything with any of you. So yeah, that's enough for now. Thanks very much for watching, and hope to see you again soon in the next video. Thank you.